Good afternoon, class. I'm Charlie Zino.
I'm Jamie Royer.
And this is our project of the development of infectious diseases found in Chapter 3. So, infectious diseases are caused by microorganisms introduced to the body, which are called pathogens. Infection doesn't always lead to disease, and disease only occurs when the cells in our bodies are damaged as a result of an infection. There are two types of infectious diseases, endogenous and exogenous. So, endogenous infectious diseases are caused by resident microorganisms, for example, dental caries or periodontitis. Exogenous infectious diseases are caused by transient microorganisms. For example, it could be measles or tuberculosis. If you think about it, it could be like transient skin flora, if you could relate that. So the steps exogenous infectious disease development start with the source of the microorganism. From there, the microorganism escapes from that source, and the third step would be the spread of the microorganism to a new person. The fourth step would be the entry of the microorganism into the new person, which could either be via inhalation, ingestion through the mucous membranes, or breaks in the skin. The fifth step would be the infection resulting from those microorganisms surviving and multiplying. Finally, you have the sixth step, which is the damage to the body. In 2018, according to the CDC, 7.2 million individuals visited a physician office for infectious and parasitic diseases, which proves the importance of being knowledgeable on the subject of development of infectious diseases, as well as being equipped to prevent any infection from happening. There are 4 stages of an infectious disease. The first stage would be the incubation stage. This is the period from the initial entrance of the infectious agent into the body to the time when the first symptoms of the disease appear. The second stage would be the prodromal stage, which is the appearance of early symptoms. This could display in a person when they have a general malaise or they're feeling sluggish.
And the third stage is going to be the acute stage. That is when those initial symptoms develop into worse symptoms, and they are at their max and the most ill that the person is going to be. And looking at the person, typically you can tell that they are obviously ill. These patients aren't always an issue for us in the dental office, because typically if someone's feeling this ill, they're not going to be out and about going to their appointments, but it's still good knowledge. The fourth stage is going to be the convalescent stage. So that's when these microorganisms and these pathogens that are causing harm in the body are declining and our white blood cells are fighting them off. Not everyone always recovers completely from an infectious disease, and they could remain in this fourth stage for an extended period of time, if not forever, for the rest of their lives. So now we're going to go into how the microorganisms are spread. And this could happen in 4 different ways. So the first one we're going to talk about is airborne infection. So these are going to be small aerosol particles that are suspended in the air for sometimes hours and can easily be inhaled if we are not protected properly, like with an N95 mask. So an example of this would be tuberculosis, and sometimes if you're cleaning with a Cavitron, these can produce airborne particles. Next is going to be the droplet infection. So these are going to be larger particles. So this could be caused by the air-water syringe during a cleaning, for example. This is going to be transmitted by close contact with an infected individual. And to prevent this from spreading, we would need proper PPE to prevent that from happening. So next is going to be direct contact. So this is pretty self-explanatory. It could be like touching infected skin with your bare hands, mucous membranes, teeth, because then it could get through the microcuts that are in your hands. Next is going to be indirect contact, and this could be touching a contaminated instrument or a sharp. So disease is prevented if one of these 6 links in the chain of infection is broken. So it starts with a susceptible host. This could be anybody, especially the elderly and immunocompromised, small children. Next, you need a pathogen. This could be bacteria, virus, fungi, anything. And these pathogens need a place to grow, and that's a reservoir. So they could grow in people, animals, soil, food. It just really depends on the pathogen. Next, a portal of exit is needed to get that pathogen from the reservoir to the next person or next reservoir. This is going to happen via a portal of exit. So for example, if somebody coughs and they have an infectious disease and somebody else is standing close by, that person could inhale that. And that leads into the mode of transmission, which is how that is going to be spread to the next person, which could be one of the methods above we just spoke of. So direct contact, indirect contact. And then a portal of entry is needed. So that's how that is going to get from that reservoir to the person. So you could inhale it, it could be a mucous membrane, cuts in the skin, so any of those things. We defend ourselves in a variety of ways. The first one is going to be a physical barrier, which is just unbroken skin. The second one is going to be a mechanical barrier. So for example, if you get something in your eye, your tears are going to try to wash away those microorganisms. The next is going to be antimicrobial chemicals. So for example, hydrochloric acid in our stomachs. And the last one is going to be cellular barriers, which are going to fight off whatever makes it through those first three barriers. So for example, like our white blood cells. And that is the end of our presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening.